If there is a message for us today, I believe it is to learn to live from our heart in love. These short lessons, hopefully, will help to inspire you to live with purpose, love passionately, and inspire others. We are the change agent our world needs. I'm Helen Toews. Step into the river today with me to explore the mysteries of God. They are not hidden from us, but for us to discover. All right. Well, I just want to say a formal welcome to everybody tonight, and we've been having fun just catching up on our week and getting some gardening tips and what's happening in everyone's lives, and I just want to say welcome. I find it quite amazing that we have people coming on at 3 o'clock in the morning, and you just are totally, especially welcome, and my heroes, my heroes. So tonight, we are this is this is the last in the trilogy, as it were. This is the third value statement that we have on the River 474, and I've been unpacking each of them because they're more than just value statements for me. They are part of foundational living, foundational life, with just as individuals, but even as a group. And so I wanted to do these three together and if you don't know what they are live with purpose, love passionately, and inspire others. Those three statements have an impact when you sit down quietly and just sort of think about it. And tonight is the last in those, and it's inspire others. And you may have an understanding on what it is to inspire others, but I'm hoping tonight that you'll be challenged to take it a little further and look at yourself in it. To how can we not only how can we inspire others, but how do we inspire others? And there's sort of that two-sided coin here. The etymology, of course, it comes from a Latin term, and it's just simply means to go within and to breathe, or you could say to breathe into. We've all had that feeling where we are inspired, right? Where you go, oh my golly, I feel so inspired, and there's a creative energy that comes in at times. And there's other times there's just so total lack of inspiration. So we understand it in measure and how it comes in to our life. And a lot of it has, well, I know for me, inspiration has come in the past from religious contexts, where it was seen as inspiration, as like God breathing wisdom or courage or creative energy into a person. And I still go with that. I really do see how God works through us in exactly those ways. Today, we still feel this sense, and when we say, I feel inspired. But do you ever get that when you actually feel, I want to bring us into a feeling here, as though like there's a spark that has happened. That inspiration, it actually has a sense to it. And so at its root, inspiration means like being filled with breath, spirit, or life that moves on us to act or create. So keep that in mind as we unpack a little bit more of it. Inspire others then has the inference to be able to inspirit others. This is actually another way of looking at what the word implies. To inspire means to inspirit. When you think about inspiriting someone else, it seems like a daunting task in a way, because you can't make somebody be inspirited, but we will see that we influence that in others. Last week, when we were doing the love passionately, I made the statement that I must embody spirit, speak, touch, create, and act as though every gesture carries the divine intention of love. And so, as we unpack what uh, being in spirit or in to inspire means, I want it to come from that place that we embody it, where every gesture really, every part of it, speaking, touching, creating, acting, comes through divine intention of love. So to embody spirit for me means that it's more than simply believing in something sacred. To me, it's a person who is inspirational. It's the one who lets the essence of spirit flow through their body, their voice, their hands, and choices in daily life. Does it sound like a random life or one that's lived on purpose? I think it's very purposeful. I believe that we can become the person that our bodies and our voices and the things we do and the choices we make can partner with Christ consciousness. And I want to look at that for a second right now, because Christ consciousness is this plumb line that gives us direction. So let's just look for a moment what is meant by Christ consciousness. I don't want anyone to think that it's a set of rules or dogma. For me, Christ consciousness is the awakened state of divine love, of unity, of awareness of God within, and it is available to every human being. It's Christ consciousness isn't just awakened because of a denominational setting or some club you're in or things that you do or perform, or it is available to every human being wherever you are, whoever you are, culturally, faith-based, non-faith-based, it's available. I feel like it's modeled, however, in the life of Jesus. That's where I see the greatest for myself, and I have studied and read on the masters of the Far East, if you will, people that have lived exceptionally Christ-centered lives, and of the Celtic saints and people. But I just love reading about Jesus. I feel like he's sort of a common sense guy, and he didn't come with a lot of rules, but he illustrated how we can live. And yet he didn't suffer fools gladly. He called a spade a spade. He said what he meant, and he meant what he said, and he did it all through that amazing love that he walked in. And the results followed. I love that part. The results followed. Christ consciousness is something in my values that I hope will become more of a flow than a thought process. My heart's desire is that I don't I don't have to stop and think as much of the times where you say, should I do, should I say, should I, but I'm just flowing, because that Christ consciousness is flowing not only from me outward, but it's flowing into me as well. There's something about that whole spiral effect that helps us to become Christ conscious. I think of it sort of like a river. Everything, rivers are important, or waterways. I think of it that way because fl flowing like a river is sort of the analogy, but a river has banks, doesn't it? It has banks to it, and it's the banks that keep the river in place. If there weren't banks, then the river would be over and it would be a big flood, and it doesn't have any boundaries. But Christ consciousness is like the banks of the river that gives us that Um, I feel like it's a very safe place to be, by the way. When I go in my heart and in my thinking into Christ consciousness, I have to go into unconditional love. I have to go into that place of uh, just abandoning anything of the ego and living from the spirit. So I become in spirit myself. When we speak, that's okay. So that's the embodiment for me, the embodiment. Now, speaking with spirit means that words aren't careless, but they're seeds of kindness and encouragement and truth. I'm becoming much better. You know how hard it is to tame the tongue. There's often, you want to be sarcastic or you want to be angry, or and it sometimes seems very hard. I'm learning it's not hard at all. You just shut up and you just stop. Just stop and you let it go. And when what I found out too, these things that like sarcasm is something that people use and it's meant to be funny. And sometimes it is very funny, very silly. But I found out the root of that is actual anger. So when I have that opportunity to be sarcastic, I ask myself, there's a whole thing that goes on inside of me. Where is this anger coming from? What am I mad at? And so I have these little lessons within me because I want to become that person who speaks in spirited and sows those seeds of kindness. Knowing that I am unconditionally loved, I can love unconditionally, and it makes it a lot easier to speak about to anybody, even speaking to myself. You become gentler speaking to yourself. When you mess up on something, you're kinder to yourself as well. You speak more kindly to yourself, especially in times of stress. That unconditional love kicks in so beautifully and it becomes that resting place. It also becomes part of the banks of the river, if you will. To speak with the spirit, we let our voice become a channel of divine presence. And it's not about eloquence or persuasion, but it's about alignment. The words that rise from love, from truth and inner stillness carry a power to touch hearts and shift atmospheres. To be inspirited means to be rooted in the present. So before speaking, sometimes I personally have to just pause and tune inward. And when I realize that there's that place of grounding, then I actually see it when my words carry more clarity and more peace in it. Spirit or love never speaks to harm or to diminish, but to reveal truth in a way that heals and uplifts. Speaking with spirit means letting love guide even difficult conversations. I know that the world is mourning Charlie Kirk right now, and I think we have an amazing example of a young man who moved that way, never to speak harm or to diminish anyone, but to reveal truths, right? I never heard of Charlie Kirk till the assassination. I know my son Bob, his mom. I've been watching him for a long time, for years, I guess, because he's had these podcasts and has enjoyed the inspiration from how he speaks. And so I've started to listen to the things that come on the Facebook feeds and that. And I have to say, I don't agree with everything that he says, but what I agree with is his heart's desire to reveal truth. And he's so he's not always so careful, to withdraw from it, but he is very honest in what he says, and that he's not doesn't want to do any harm. He wants to bring a person to be inspired themselves. And what I listen to, I I think, wow, this young man has left an impact on so many lives because he was able to do that, make people to feel that truth within themselves and feel uplifted and to allow healing to come. So bless you, Charlie Kirk. Thank you for what you've done for our world. Oh, often to be in spirit is also beyond the mind spirit led speech that often bypasses rehearsed logic. What I mean by that is sometimes, do you ever get into a flow as like it's sort of a gentle nudge or a, a phrase of wisdom, and you think, where did that come from? And that's in spirited speech. Do you know that even silence at the right time, it can be in spirited speech? Because the silence sometimes is what speaks the loudest. When we speak with the Spirit, the result is life giving. Listeners may feel peace and courage and conviction or inspiration. The test of spirit filled speech is whether it draws people closer to love and wholeness or it pushes them away. Speaking with the Spirit is less about what you say and more about how you are aligned. And that's why I really encourage you to go within. If there's if there's ever a time where you get that little niggly, I shouldn't be saying this, stop. Allow yourself to stop. You don't have to fill any dead air. Because if you come into alignment, then your words naturally become blessings, and those blessings will reveal truth and love. An inspirited touch means more than we have ever thought. Growing up in my family, as you know, I'm Norwegian by descent, and my dad with military, he had we had strict rules in decorum. So one of the things that we were taught is that a firm handshake is expected. No fish flops, the kind that the people just sort of hardly know what to do with that hand. Um, my dad called it the fish flop, and he taught his children, as the one girl and four brothers, how to shake hands well, not to destroy the other person's hand, but to shake firmly and meaningfully. In our customs, back in the day, this might sound really weird, but the boys were taught when they're shaking hands that a brief bow was appropriate. It wasn't one of these bow from the waist, that you see exaggerated. It was simply a forward down. But you know what it did? They acknowledged the handshake and then met the person's eyes. It was an alignment move more than anything. As a young girl, I was taught to curtsy. Like that was it's not like when you're meeting the king and you're going down to the floor and it's a big deal. It was just that slight dip, but it also aligned you with that handshake as well. Uh, in our home, girls and boys all shook hands. And it took me a long time going into my teens that I stopped curtsying. And I still, every once in a while, think about it because it's in your muscle memory, if it will. And you never shake hands sitting down. Now you know everything that I know about shaking hands. But think about it. A handshake, a simple handshake, is an opportunity to intimate touch. Your being is touching another sacred being. A touch is an immediate energetic exchange. touch creates a direct channel between two subtle fields. We have studied heart-brain coherence, right? And we know the electromagnetic field around us. And if you don't go and find out about it, we have it in the lesson somewhere. But that touch brings those two together. And even a brief contact can transmit things. A touch transmits vibration and resonance. It can transmit your state from calm to, or from anxious to calm, from open and closed, and it's subtly that just that touch, just a handshake, actually can tune the other person's field. It's our touch is powerful. Touch transmits intention. Conscious or unconscious intention rides the contact. Loving intention calms and opens. Fearful intention tightens and stresses. Touch, gentle, consensual touch signals safety, triggers relaxation responses, oxytocin releases, it lowers heart rate, and it makes spiritual opening easier. Imagine abrupt or unwanted touch triggers fight or flight and closes the person. Be very aware, and especially for yourself. When we touch, it often deepens emotional attunement. Even you know, even to the point where you begin to feel each other more clearly. That touch, sometimes that touch on a shoulder, sometimes that taking that person's hand. Have you ever had someone say, "Can I pray for you?" And they'll take your hand, and you feel like there's like someone not only cares, but there's a clarity, there's a hope, there's something just with that touching. There's many traditions, right, that describe touch as vehicle, like healing, the laying on of hands, and other practices. I know in the Anglican Church, when you were confirmed, it was called the laying on of hands, and that's exactly what happened at the time. There's all sorts of healing modalities that has touch rituals. Some of you have heard of tapping. I don't know a lot about it, and I know that there's people on tonight that do. Maybe we can talk a little bit more about that in our chatting time. But a touch can mark something sacred. It can anchor an intention in our body, like a blessing or a consecration, not concentration. Have boundaries. I think their boundaries are important. So if you're going to take someone's hand, ask them if you can hold it. It's just good manners. Spiritually helpful touch really requires clear consent. That's where we've come into life now, and it's not random, and it's not a bad thing. It's okay. Without consent, touch can violate a person's field and cause fragmentation or distrust, and we don't want to be the person that contributes to that. Repeated patterns of touch in caregiving or abuse or ritual shape a person's energetic template and self-worth. And the wrong kind of touch and the wrong kind of patterns may influence spiritual openness or create an armor that people start building up. Set an intention before touching. Ask for consent and use presence over technique. A steady, attentive presence often matters more than elaborate methods. A touch that is short, fast, high bandwidth exchange can move energy, intention, it can move feeling between fields. And when it's done with presence and consent, it becomes one of the quickest ways to open, heal, and bless another being. My favorite is the 20-second hug. And I sort of, it's sort of been a favorite of mine for a long time because do you know how many people push away from hugs? I know that you've all experienced it. And if you want to actually hold someone, 20 seconds might not, you might think, oh, that's nothing. Of course we can do that. But I want you to just to listen now in the quiet, okay? I want you to listen to how long 20 seconds are. Ready? I'm just going to tap. Now, for some of you, that might have felt really short, and others thinking, wow, it's longer than I thought, right? But a 20-second hug, it isn't just emotional comfort, it's a deeply spiritual act. And here's what tends to happen beneath the surface. You ready? In that 20 seconds, it creates a physiological spiritual bridge. Around the 20-second mark in a hug, the body begins releasing higher levels of oxytocin, bonding hormone, reduces stress hormones, and activates feelings of safety, belonging, and love. Spiritually, this neurochemical shifts opens the heart field and it makes it easier to experience unconditional love and unity. Think heart brain coherence, right? We know what that does. That changes everything, and it releases like 1,400 different uh, elements in our bodies. Hugging brings two heart fields into resonance. And science shows that the electromagnetic field of the heart can synchronize when people embrace. Spiritually, this coherence allows both beings to feel more aligned with each other and with the larger source field of love. So I'm going to just put it this way. They're not just getting a hug from you, they're getting a hug from God. In 20 seconds, touch moves beyond surface level comfort and it begins to anchor the energy exchange. One person can give stability while another remains calm, or both can share it to a shared uplift. It creates a temporary, shared, sacred space where fear dissolves and grounding occurs naturally. A 20-second hug creates a memory imprint. Do you like that? If you ever put your foot or your hand into sand and it leaves an imprint, doesn't it? That's what a 20-second hug does. Short hugs are easily forgotten, but a longer hug often leaves a soul imprint, and our body's energy field will remember being held in love. The memory of a hug strengthens resilience and makes it easier to trust in love later, even during isolation or fear. The spiritual power of a 20-second hug is that it dissolves separation, it synchronizes energy fields, and anchors both beings into a living experience of divine love, body, heart, and soul aligned. So, that 20-second hug isn't just emotional comfort, it is a deeply spiritual act. You know what? They're like I just felt really, really impressed to share that tonight. What I want to do is we're going to just stop for a minute because I know that there's people on the call tonight in the Hollywood Squares that we have talked about this before, and you've shared testimonies about how you have embraced people. I'm talking about the 20-second hug. Actual, this is actual physical hugging, but many of us have done this in the spirit with on holding a person in our heart and literally embracing them. And during that hug, purposefully release love and uh, and healing and wholeness and care into them, and have had amazing results. So as much as this 20-second hug is uh, I like heart to heart, body to body is perfect. It actually works in the spirit. And I would say take the seconds off in when you can, and just embrace that way, because we are not limited in time and space. So I'm just going to go through a few things that you can think about in these 20 seconds and just make up your own. But so just now, like just we're not, this is going to be a true meditation. Just realize I'm going to do the 5 seconds, and then just make suggestions how to deal with those seconds, if you will. All right. Just take a deep breath and intend. And what we're doing, I love hugging a pillow when I'm hugging somebody in the spirit, and my intent is always to meet that person in love and hold that person as sacred. So in first 5 seconds, let your body soften and rest into the connection. The next 5, synchronize your breathing. Imagine both hearts glowing with warm light. Next 5, allow light to expand beyond your bodies, forming a shared field of peace. And then the last 5 seconds, just say, be loved, behold. And after after that, you can gently let go, place a hand over your heart for a breath, and seal that moment with gratitude. With practice, this turns a simple hug into a sacred ritual and a doorway where two souls touch the divine together. All right. I guess I'm passionate about the 20-second hug, right? Inspirited in problem solving. We have actually the river folk that are not new to some of this. We realize that when we're in a heart-brain coherence, that is the best time to actually receive that inspirited problem solving, when we can ask a question at that time, because we partner then with spirit. And problem solving becomes more than just fixing, it becomes transforming. Next time that you face a problem or a situation or something that you want answer to, and it can be simple. It can be you're planning your calendar, and you get this little niggle, and you think, should I be putting this certain thing on this day? Simple little things. Just sit quietly. I say go into heart-brain coherence, because that's the best place to do it. Just sit quietly, place your hand over your heart, and ask the questions. Or just sit there and breathe, but ask simple questions. Should I do boom? And then when you hear the answer, wait for that first clear yes or no, or it might be a response that arises. Write it down. And then take a small action in alignment with whatever guidance it is. If it's yes, make, book on that day, go with your yes. Trust your trust that you are inspirited. Trust that you have intuition. Trust that you are in alignment with God. And don't second guess yourself. Don't try to analyze. Don't just go with it, because there is a flow in the spirit when you put yourself in that place that will that you will be inspirited, and it will transform problem solving into your soul's growth. Each challenge that you have like that becomes now a doorway for love, for wisdom, for trust, and to move more fully into the different things in your life. This can become an automatic thing, just it, something that you live in. Every gesture carries divine intention of love, invites us to live as though nothing insignificant, no word, no glance, no act is wasted. Each moment can be a vessel for spirit to move through us and to turn ordinary life into sacred practice. And I'm not trying to take the fun out of life here. I'm just saying that when we live on purpose, when we love unconditionally, that we become that inspirited person that allows for us to influence whoever it is that it comes our way. Inspired gestures can be best illustrated in the beautiful dance of the Hawaiians. I was thinking about that as I was preparing for tonight. The hula, the total body of the person reflects the message, and the message is given in a flowing, soft movement with accompanying music, or well, there's all music. I was going to say and drums and that, but and have you ever watched? Because it transmits such joy, and it's a heart to heart dance. And whether we understand the movements or not, every time I've ever watched that particular dance, I am moved, even though I don't know what's gone into it. Inspiration isn't about pushing people to act, it's about awakening something already inside them. Awakening is better caught than taught. You will inspire people when you live authentically with integrity and passion. You become a living example that naturally encourages others to rise higher. When you lead by example, people are inspired, not by what you say, but what you embody. We all know the saying, right? I can't hear what you're saying because your actions are speaking too loud. People are more influenced by what you do than what you say. Living with authenticity and consistency shows others that integrity is possible. See the potential in others. When you see the potential in others, they become inspirited, they become inspired. A kind word of belief in them can spark confidence. Share your stories. Real stories of struggle and growth remind people that progress is possible even through difficulties. I don't care who the person is that you're speaking with, they've had a story of struggle. And your reminder of sharing yours can carry power. Sharing your struggles and victories makes hope real and relatable. And you know what I mean. It's not the kind of stories that end up in woe is me, going into the garden to eat worms kind of thing. It's sharing a struggle that you've overcome and found the victory, and leaves people going, gee, I can do that too. Inspiration grows when people feel supported, not judged, when we celebrate their wins and honor their journey. My best friends are the ones who are happy with me in successes, not just who are there to mourn or to badmouth or to pull down. Stay humble. Humble people are not being led by their ego. Imperfection makes inspiration relatable. It's okay. It's okay not to be perfect. Show that greatness is built one step at a time. That helps to inspire others. Perfection isn't inspiring, resilience is. So showing your imperfections with honesty helps others believe that they can grow too. To inspire is to become a channel through which divine breath flows. It's not merely to motivate with words or deeds, but to awaken within another the remembrance of their own connection to Source, to God. Inspiration is a subtle transmission of spirit, an unseen breath that stirs the heart, ignites the imagination, and reveals new possibilities. When we inspire, we're not filling others with something foreign. We're calling forth what already lives within them, their courage, their creativity, their love, or higher knowing. It's a resonance of spirit with a spark of divine consciousness, and it's shared through presence, through authenticity and love. And in this sense, to inspire is to breathe life into the dormant seed of another's soul. So there we have it. Live with purpose, love passionately, inspire others. Shall we end this evening? Let's breathe that inspiration into the world. We can do it. We can do it. We know how. Our world is the world that, first of all, that's just around us as individuals, around the people that we are with, love, maybe your family, your workplace, however you influence your world. But we, by setting ourselves in love with purpose, can be that inspiration to our world. Okay. I know this isn't foreign to you. I'm not going to put music on. Bob loves to do that too. If you've seen the, excuse me, last week's meditation, he put music and visuals to it. So hope that works for you. But tonight, let's just sit in the silence and enjoy just breathing the inspiration into the world. All right. Let's center, just center the breath within us. Close your eyes. I always like to place a hand over my heart. Tonight, maybe over your heart and run over your belly. Breathe slowly and deeply. With each inhale, imagine drawing in the pure breath of spirit. With each exhale, release tension, fear, doubt. Let your shoulders go down. Just feel the peace. Feel the rest. Find your rhythm in breathing. As you breathe, just visualize a gold light around you. With every inhale, this light enters, filling your body with warmth, clarity. This is the divine breath, life itself blowing through you. Now bring your awareness to your heart. Imagine a small flame just glowing there, like an ember that begins to flicker a bit with each breath. This flame is your spirit. You are alive, radiant, eternal. As you breathe in, feel it grow stronger. Feel it spread through your entire being. On your next exhale, imagine this life expanding beyond your body. With each breath out, release waves of inspiration into your world. Breathe out encouragement, hope, courage, love. See it touching people, far and those closest to you. See it touching your friends, your family, even strangers. Touching those in need of healing. If one person or a group of people show up in your heart right now, just embrace them. Give them your full intention and attention. Silently affirm to yourself, I am a vessel of inspiration. The breath of spirit blows through me. I awaken light and possibility in others. Now take 3 final breaths, your own pace. On the inhale, receive God's love. On the exhale, offer it freely to your world. Now, when you're ready, gently open your eyes, carrying the awareness that every breath you breathe can inspire others. Okay. your homework, if you choose, give somebody you love a 20-second hug.